How you present your music to fans affects how they connect with it. What's up, y'all? This is Walt from Splice, and I'm bringing you the top 4 things you should consider when dropping your next single, your next project, or your next beat. Almost a checklist of sorts to ensure that when you drop that piece of music, that momentum that is generated is carried on as long as possible. So the first thing you should have ready to go is an EPK. That stands for an electronic press kit. It's pretty much a 1 or 2 page summary of who you are as a producer or who you are as an artist. It should highlight any of your accolades. It should highlight any of your features. It should highlight any of your placements. It should include any press photos you have, links to your most recent music, as well as your contact information, or if you have a management team, their contact information. It's a very valuable, very vital tool that simply makes you look more professional as an artist. Anytime you're reaching out for a tour, bookings, or show bookings, or playlist placements, or blog features, that EPK should be attached, because anyone who comes across it not only gets a sense of your career, but also your brand. So the next thing you want to have ready to go is a rollout strategy or a marketing plan. And I know, we've heard this a million times, but I'm going to dive into it a little bit in depth. So you want to have a pre-rollout strategy, you want to have a week of release strategy, and you want to have a post-release strategy. Me personally, I like my pre-release strategy to be about 2 weeks before the release of that piece of music. I have a week of strategy which lasts about 7 to 10 days once that piece of music is dropped. And then I have a post-release strategy which lasts roughly a month after the release. But that depends on the momentum of your single or beat or how big you are as an artist. And at the heart of any good release strategy will always be content, content, content. You can never, ever, ever have enough content. As producers and as artists, we have to do self-promotion. That's just part of the game. But your content should not always be in direct promotion of your music. You should be mindful to create content that is inspiring, that is engaging, that is entertaining, or that is informing. Keeping that in the back of your mind is a great strategy to prevent yourself from over self-promoting, which is maybe one of the most annoying things artists can do. You want to create content that has value for your audience and for your fans. That's how they like it. That's how they retweet it. That's how they share that. And that value comes from those 4 categories that I previously mentioned. And that brings me to the third tip that you should always consider when dropping music. And that is to ensure that the branding is consistent across all your social platforms. When you drop new music, new audiences are going to be directed back to your pages, and you want to make sure that your brand story is clear. You want to make sure that these new audiences can identify who you are as a producer or who you are as an artist, and can identify what your brand is. Many times your branding is what turns casual listeners into fans, sometimes even more than the quality of the music itself. So it's something you always want to be mindful of. You want the color scheme, you want the text, you want the vibe, and you want the energy, all to be consistent with your brand story. And that brings me to the 4th thing you should consider when dropping music, and that is, why are you dropping that piece of music? Many times I see artists overlook this very important question, because that's how you tie in a release into a bigger marketing rollout strategy. Many times artists use singles to build momentum for projects, but that does not have to be the case. You can use singles to strategically drive traffic to specific platforms. For example, if you have a music video release coming up, you could give a call to action, a CTA, which is get my YouTube account to 500 subscribers and I will drop the music video. Or if you have a single coming up, get my Spotify to 100 Spotify followers and I'll drop the single next week. By always keeping in mind what do you want to get out of this single release and the reason why you're dropping this music. It's a great strategy to ensure your next single ties into your larger marketing rollout plan. And those are the top 4 tips you should consider when putting out a piece of music. If you follow these guidelines, it will ensure that you maximize your reach and any momentum that you have when you drop that piece of music is carried out as long as possible. Again, this is Walt from Splice. I appreciate y'all tuning in and see you next time.